What's going on, YouTube? So today we're out taking a little ride, and I wanted to go over some of the things that I've done to this bike, as well as some of the future plans that I have in store. Stick around, let's get to it. So one of the first things that I wanted to do to this bike when I got it was put an exhaust on it. I know how awesome these bikes sound with an exhaust, and after looking at multiple videos on YouTube and trying to figure out which one I wanted, I ended up going with this Akrapovic carbon exhaust, which I absolutely love. The price was decent. It sounds really good. I prefer it with the baffle out. I'll put in a link in the description to all the parts that I talk about today in this video. Like I said, this exhaust sounds really good. The only downfall to this exhaust, or not downfall I would say, but something that you have to consider, is because it is so loud, you draw a lot of attention to yourself. So when I had this stock exhaust on here, I felt like I was able to rip around the city without really being noticed, but now that I have this exhaust on here, forget about it. I also installed a DNA Stage 2 air filter. It was really easy to install. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. I recently did a video of the installation and my first impressions of it. If you haven't seen it, I have it up here. Take a look at it. Very easy to install. Man, that lady was fucking tweaked out her mind. And as far as the performance goes, the only other thing that I've done to this bike, I've sent my ECU to get flashed by Chris Moore at Moore Mafia. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. The way that process worked was really simple. All I had to do was go to his site, purchase the flash, and then send him the ECU. I sent it, only took a couple days to get there. He flashed it the same day he got it and sent it out the next day. I got it 2 days later. I would say only took about a week to send it there, him flash it, and for it to get back. I did pay for the expedited shipping, but I think it was worth it. I really hope you guys can hear me. I'm using I'm using a new to me Zoom F2. The Zoom F2 lavalier mic, the lav mic that came with it. The first time I used it, it did nothing but distort, flip, staticky, popping sounds. It didn't sound good at all. So what I did is I took my Purple Panda microphone and I installed it, where I used it instead of the Zoom F2 mic. So hopefully it sounds a lot better than that mic. We'll see. If this doesn't sound very good, I might have to look into a different lav mic. So moving on from performance and more towards aesthetics. First thing I did on the bike was put on the Womet-Tech frame sliders. I thought they looked different from normal frame sliders that you see, and I kind of like the way they are more low profile and not such a big peg sticking out of the side of your engine. I don't know. I just like the way these ones look better. I've also installed the TST fender eliminator kit, the high mount adjustable one. It was a really easy install. However, I would say that the quality, not the quality, but the fitment wasn't, I wouldn't say bad, but I'm just not quite impressed with the fitment, the final fitment. Other than that, it looks so much better than the stock tail fender in my opinion. I also installed the LED TST front turn signals. I got the hyper white daytime running lights. I think they look the best out of all the other colors available. But the last thing I have installed was the captive chain adjusters with the captive spooled chain adjusters, which allow me to keep tension on the chain. When I take the rear wheel off, my chain settings don't. Again, a really easy install, and I think it's a necessity if you're going to do any kind of maintenance to your bike. It's nice to see some water filling the lakes back up here in Northern California. It's been so dry. Beautiful. I almost forgot to mention, when I installed the fender eliminator kit, I also purchased the TST integrated smoked tail light. I got rid of the turn signals. I think the stock turn signals on the MT-07, they're just huge. I don't know how many times in walking around my bike I've walked into them and felt like I was going to tear them off. In my opinion, this integrated tail light with the 2 front LED small turn signals are much better than stock. I know I want to do a few more things to this bike, like mirrors. I want to get some new bar end mirrors. I'm not quite sure which ones I want yet. I also want to get some new levers. Again, not quite sure, haven't decided on the type of levers that I want to get. I'm also going to get a couple more things for protection, maybe like the case cover for the engine, fork sliders for the front tire. Some things that I'm considering about doing to this bike, I haven't decided if I want to do it yet, at least not right now. The first thing would be the brakes. They're adequate for the most part, but they are really soft, so I know getting new pads, some steel braided lines would definitely help in that department. Another thing is the suspension, the front suspension. As a new rider, I really don't notice it, and I don't have a whole lot of experience with other bikes. So like I said, not right now, but maybe in the future it's something that I'll look into. One thing I'm gonna do is when my stock chain wears out, I'm gonna look at upgrading the chain and sprocket, maybe do a 520 conversion. That's something that's down the road though. And the last thing I think I may want to do to it, put a quick shifter on it. I mean, again, I'm a new rider, so I'm still learning. I've been on this bike for over 6-7 months now. I'll be doing a new rider review on this bike. That video should be coming out in the next few weeks or so. But yeah, quick shifter I think is something that down the road I would be interested in installing. I did have a front windscreen on this. I put a Pugue windscreen on here. I don't know, it looked good online. It did do an okay job of blocking the wind that hit my stomach and chest. But I mean, ultimately it just, I don't know. I kept looking at it and I just couldn't, something about it just was throwing the looks off of this bike. So I decided to just take it off. So yeah, that's everything I've done to this bike and everything that I'm thinking about doing to this bike. So stick around for more videos. Until next time, peace.